What if one of the world's biggest consulting firms, the same kind trusted by governments and Fortune 500 companies, quietly used artificial intelligence to help write a government report, and that AI made up facts, sources, and even fake quotes? That's not a hypothetical. It actually happened. In 2025, Deloitte, a global powerhouse known for its professionalism and precision, found itself at the center of a controversy that's now being called the Deloitte AI problem. It's a story that perfectly captures the growing tension between human expertise and machine intelligence, and it raises an uncomfortable question. What happens when AI's mistakes start shaping real-world decisions? Let's start with what actually went down. In late 2024, Australia's Department of Employment and Workplace Relations hired Deloitte to carry out an independent review of its welfare compliance systems, a government program that affects millions of citizens. The job came with a hefty price tag, roughly 440,000 Australian dollars. When Deloitte delivered the final report in mid-2025, it looked like a typical piece of high-end consulting work. 237 pages of detailed analysis, professional tone, and academic citations. But not long after it was published, researchers started to notice something strange. Dr. Christopher Rudge, a legal scholar at the University of Sydney, tried to look up some of the cited papers and authors listed in the report. But one by one, he realized they didn't exist. The citations were fabricated. Even worse, one section quoted a federal court judge saying something that no judge had ever said. It was all fake. After some digging, the truth came out. Parts of the report had been drafted with the help of a generative AI tool, Microsoft's Azure OpenAI GPT-4. In other words, Deloitte's human consultants had used AI to help write what was supposed to be an official, evidence-based report for the government. And like many large language models, the AI had done what AI sometimes does best. It hallucinated. That's the technical term for when AI confidently produces something that sounds right, but is completely false. It's like that one friend who tells convincing stories that never actually happened, except now that friend is writing government reports. Once the fabrications came to light, the fallout was quick. Deloitte admitted that AI had been used, apologized for the errors, and promised to tighten its review processes. They also agreed to refund part of the government contract. The report was quietly edited, false references were removed, and disclaimers were added explaining that generative AI had been involved. But the damage was already done. For a firm whose entire reputation rests on trust and accuracy, this was a serious blow. And beyond Deloitte, the scandal opened a wider conversation. How many other expert reports, policy documents, or consulting analyses are quietly being shaped by AI tools behind the scenes? And if those tools can make things up, what does that mean for the credibility of professional advice? Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just an embarrassing mistake, it's a warning sign. Let's talk about why this story matters. First, it exposes a crisis of credibility. Deloitte isn't just any company. It's one of the most trusted consulting firms in the world. When a firm like that delivers a report filled with fake sources, it doesn't just damage its own image. It shakes confidence in the entire consulting industry. If AI-assisted expert reports can slip through quality control, what else might be hiding in plain sight? Second, it raises the question of accountability. When AI fabricates something, who's responsible? The model? The person using it? Or the company signing off on the final work? In Deloitte's case, all roads lead back to human oversight, or the lack of it. The firm admitted that humans reviewed the report, but somehow the fabricated quotes and references went unnoticed. That's not just a technical glitch, that's a breakdown in process. Third, it shows how easily AI's limitations can be misunderstood. Large language models don't know truth. They generate text that sounds right based on patterns and data. So if you ask it for a citation or a quote, it will confidently produce one, even if it doesn't exist. Without proper fact-checking, those hallucinations can slip into official documents, reports, or even public policy. But there's an even deeper lesson here, one about how fast organizations are adopting AI without understanding the risks. Governments and corporations around the world are under pressure to move faster, cut costs, and look innovative. Generative AI tools seem like the perfect shortcut. They can summarize, draft, analyze, and polish text in seconds. But as Deloitte's experience shows, that convenience comes with a hidden price: reliability. Because when AI gets something wrong, it does so confidently. And confidence, especially in professional settings, is dangerously persuasive. A well-written paragraph with fake citations looks authoritative until someone actually checks. The Deloitte scandal was caught because academics looked closely. But how many AI-written reports have already slipped through, never questioned? The aftermath has already started to reshape the conversation about AI governance. In Australia, government departments are reportedly reviewing their contracting standards to require disclosure whenever generative AI is used in a deliverable. Other countries may follow suit. For consulting firms, that means greater transparency and a potential reckoning for how much of their work is actually written by humans. But this isn't just about contracts and compliance. It's about the human element. AI tools are only as responsible as the people using them. Reviewers and analysts need to be trained to understand what AI can and can't do. Spotting hallucinations, verifying sources, and questioning overly polished outputs must become second nature. In short, we don't just need humans in the loop. We need informed humans in the loop. So what should we take away from all this? First, AI is powerful, but it's not magic. It's a tool that can assist, not replace, critical thinking. Second, trust still has to be earned the old-fashioned way, through accuracy, transparency, and accountability. Third, institutions that use AI need to be honest about it. Pretending that AI-generated content is human work only deepens the trust gap when errors are exposed. And finally, we need to remember that the biggest risk in this new AI-driven world isn't the technology itself, it's complacency. It's assuming that because AI sounds smart, it must be right. Deloitte's mistake shows just how costly that assumption can be. If you found this video insightful, give it a like, share it with someone curious about AI, and subscribe for more breakdowns on how technology, business, and ethics collide. And let me know in the comments, do you think Deloitte's mistake was an honest error or a sign that we're adopting AI too recklessly? Thank you for matching, and see you on the next insightful video.